Welcome to Woman2Woman today, where we're having intimate conversations with inspiring women while learning something new that inspires us. I'm your host, Jen Maseda. If you or someone you know is caring for an aging loved one, you've got to watch today's show. We're answering important questions about caring for an older adult, discussing topics from how to manage their care to getting legal help and how to prevent getting caught up in scams. We're also discovering creative ideas to take care of ourselves while we care for those we love. With us today is an expert in the field of aging resources, the executive director of Baypath Elder Services in Marlborough, Massachusetts, Christine Alessandro. Christine has worked in several long-term care facilities in New York City, most notably the Hebrew Home at Riverdale. Christine has a BA in music therapy from Montclair State University, an MS in gerontology administration from the College of New Rochelle, and a master's in recreational education from Lehman College. She's a trustee of Bethany Healthcare Center and on the corporate board for sponsored ministries for the Sisters of St. Joseph in Boston, as well as an alternate delegate to the board of the National Association of Area Agencies on Aging. To say you're an expert, you absolutely are. Welcome, Christine, to Woman2Woman today. Thanks for being with us.
Oh, thank you, Jen. It's great to be here. Great to talk to you about this great topic.
Yeah, it is such a great topic. We posted on Facebook that we wanted to talk about how to care for a loved one, and we just had an overwhelming response. People are really struggling to find resources and information, and we talked a little bit before we started taping. People only reach out for resources when they are feeling overwhelmed. And what can you tell us to almost prepare us for the eventuality of being this caregiver?
Well, you know it's going to happen to you. You know you're going to be caring for a loved one. It might even be your spouse, may not be a parent. And things happen very, very suddenly. And the thing to think about is don't wait for the crisis.
Right.
You need to be prepared ahead of time. And when people talk about services and programs for older adults, they say, that's not me. I'm not elderly.
Right. Why do you think that is? They're in denial. They don't want to face that they're aging and there's a possibility of this critical situation.
Well, I think we all reframe it for ourselves.
Yeah.
That when you're 65, you're not old.
You're not old.
You're 95 is old.
Yeah.
When I'm 70, I'm still not old.
Yes. Right. Right. It's the person way ahead of you, even as you age.
Exactly.
Okay. Yeah.
So that's part of it. You need to think about what's going to happen. And you need to think about that long term as well, especially when you get into, if for you and your spouse, maybe in your 50s, that's time to really start preparing.
Okay.
And I know that one of the things you asked about was resources, and you mentioned that. And there are so many resources out there, but again, it's not until the crisis comes that people then say, what am I going to do? Where do I turn? Who do I call? Because I just can't take it anymore.
Right. So there are specific resources. You're going to name a couple of those in almost every community within the United States. Is that right? Because we might have a loved one that lives 1,000 miles away, and we've got to be able to make a phone call or open the yellow pages and find that resource. So what should every community have in relatively decent distance that you could get some resources?
Well, in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, every community has a council on aging, and 99% have a senior center. And that's a great local resource that you can call. They often have outreach workers that can give you advice, come to your house, meet with you.
Okay.
So
what, do they almost do a triage service? Well, they will come in, look at the environment that you're living in, and give you suggestions on how to better care for your loved one?
They could make a referral.
Okay.
Sometimes people refer to Baypath Elder Services because we can go in there. Besides home care services, we do so much more, including a caregiver program.
Right.
So if you need that advice on, well, how perhaps do I transfer my loved one, we can get you that help. Now, in other states, and I was relating this experience with my mother, every state has area agencies on aging, or AAAs. In Massachusetts, there are 29 AAAs. because we're much smaller.
Okay.
In other states, they may have 8 or 10 because they cover large county areas. But you can find an area agency on aging very easily if you go on the internet, and they can also give you help as well. So also on a national level, there's a phone call that you can make to the National Association of Area Agencies on Aging, and they have a service called Elder Care Locator.
Okay.
And they can give you information on any state, the resources that are available in that state. And I wish I had Elder Care Locator when my mother had a bad fall a few years ago. Would have saved me a day and a half of trying to search for resources.
Yeah, that's really critical. And so tell us about the population now of people that are moving into, the segment of what we're determining aging. And you've mentioned this to me before, that there are different segments now, that there are so many people that are really entering this bracket of our life cycle.
Right. Well, under a federal definition, an older adult is anyone over the age of 60. So everybody over 60 is not the same.
Right.
There's a young older adult, there's a middle older adult, and there's an older adult. So
do you physically and mentally qualify for each of those, where, if you're still mobile, you're a younger older adult?
Well, not necessarily.
Okay.
It kind of goes by age. So
Okay.
you would think of an older adult as maybe over 90 years of
Okay.
age, because each of those cohorts also has different life experiences.
I see.
It's like kids in grammar school. I have kindergartner and a 12th grader. They're 12 years apart, but they're so vastly different in terms of their social and emotional development. Same thing with older adults.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about the caregivers' social and emotional well-being, but also the older adults. I hear a lot that being independent in your home is great, but if you're not able to be mobile and interact with a host of people, peers, or just watching people that are living and moving around you, it's really critical for your own well-being.
It is, and everyone wants to stay at home.
Yes.
No, I've never heard anyone say, "Let me go to a nursing home, please. Let me go."
Okay.
Everyone wants to stay home,
Right.
and we are working toward and achieving having long-term services and supports in the home for older adults. So you can still perhaps experience, especially with technology nowadays, can you Skype with other people?
There you go.
Can you do a senior center via Skype? There are different ways to do things. But also, isolation really can lead to depression. And we find this in caregivers as well, especially full-time caregivers who are taking care of perhaps a spouse, that they're living with them, a spouse with dementia. You may be embarrassed to go outside. So you tend to be very, very isolating, and that's not good for your mental health. So you want to make sure that there are opportunities to still take care of yourself and still get outside and meet with people as well.
Right. So in our second segment, we're going to go over some very specific creative ideas for doing that. So
Right.
I'm excited to go over that, definitely. Tell us just a little bit about your background, because, as I mentioned in the intro, you have an arts history background. You also have a gerontology administration background. So what really brought you to this path that you're on right now?
When I began my career, I began working in nursing homes in New York City as a music therapist. Basically, it was the first job I could get out of college. So that's where it all started.
Okay.
And I really never wanted to work with older adults. I really had specialized in individuals with cerebral palsy.
Okay.
So it was kind of a left turn. But as I started down the road, it opened a new door in terms of older adults have so much to give and to tell and to share. You hear such fabulous stories. Yeah. I heard stories from a woman who was in the French Resistance in World War II. So
I can't imagine and the wealth of knowledge. I feel like it's lost, and there's so many cultures. I'm Latin, so I feel like in the Latin culture, I was always brought up to have that respect for and an older aging adult. I feel like that's changed a bit in our community, where even though we have this larger population of older adults, they're no longer wanted in the workplace. It's more challenging to maintain a job after you're the age of 60. And as you're saying, that 60 doesn't mean that you're old. You're still vibrant and able to do everything that
Right.
anyone that's 40 is able to do. So how do we change that? How do we change the culture of, especially for women that are they the ones that are living longer, so they need to provide for themselves longer? How do we make it so that people are more accepting and respecting of that history and that really rich knowledge?
Well, unfortunately, ageism still exists. And we do hear stories about people over 60 who had difficulty getting a job. But then you have to remember and look at TV itself. How many commercials do you now see with older women and older men? So the tide is beginning to turn. It is becoming more acceptable and accepted to be older. I've seen some great spreads in magazines of older women, gray-haired women who are models.
Right.
And they're beautiful.
Makeup, and they're spectacular.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So
yes.
the tide is turning.
Yeah.
And women need to understand that.
And support each other
Absolutely.
in that. Yes. No, I agree with that.
People have a lot to give.
Yeah.
Gray hair is fine.
That's right.
women
Embrace it.
Absolutely.
Yes. That's right.
It's who you are.
That's right. Good. Well, we appreciate you being with us today. This is such an important topic, and thank you for your time. But stay with us, everybody, because we're going to take a short break, and when we come back, Christine will share with us some creative ideas for de-stressing and focusing on ourselves while we care for the aging adults in our lives. Keep watching, everybody.
I'm Jenny Garth, and as a mother of 3, I know kids worry about a lot of things. Getting enough food to eat shouldn't be one of them. But here in America, that is a real worry for 1 in 5 children. This is unacceptable, and something Feeding America is working to solve. Through a nationwide network of food banks, Feeding America serves virtually every community in the United States, including yours. See how you can help your community. Visit feedingamerica.org. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're Feeding America.
Hi, may I please have an application? Thank you.
Skip the drama. Get your diploma.
Okay.
Take that first step towards a better future. Find free adult education classes at finishyourdiploma.org.
Your daughter just had her first breakup. Do you A, put yourself in her shoes? B, console her?
Don't worry, sweetie. This is gonna happen a lot.
Or C, find her a new boyfriend?
Nice, single boys. That was weird.
As a parent, there are no perfect answers. But you don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same.
Okay, Simon, what do people wear?
Clothes.
That's right, so it's important to learn how to dress yourself. Here's how it's done. Shirt, underwear, pants, socks, shoes. Underwear, always first, name tag on the back. Then pants and shirt. Go ahead and put this on. Now with the shirt, you want to make sure the first button's right or you have to start all over again, okay? Socks left on left, right on right. Tying the shoes, we're gonna take the laces, we're gonna cross them over, we're gonna turn around where the bunny goes down in the hole, pull it tight, and bunny ears. Got it?
Most parenting is hard to do in just 2 minutes. But 2 minutes twice a day making sure they brush is easier, and it could help save them from a lifetime of tooth pain.
Welcome back to Woman2Woman today. I'm your host, Jen Maseda. We're here with Christine Alessandro, the Executive Director of Baypath Elder Services and leading expert in care for older adults. Thanks, Christine, again for being here. So now, our last segment, we talked about the aging population and differentiating in different age groups and some of the emotional and social well-being aspects of that. So this segment is really about what caregivers can do and why is it so critical that we talk about, think about, and help caregivers?
Because caregivers are the ones who get stressed out. You're taking the burden on you. You know you have to do it, you want to do it, and by the time you realize that you're really stressed out, you're pretty much at the end of your rope.
Yeah, you're already overwhelmed.
Exactly.
Yes.
I find so many caregivers who just didn't catch that sign early enough that they needed to take care of themselves.
Okay. And you know, we keep talking about that label of caregiver, and it's sort of intimidating to label yourself as the caregiver. It's almost as though there's so much responsibility that you have to take on, but you really are taking on that responsibility. So, you know, maybe we should call it something fun so people are not so intimidated by it, because as you have said, there are resources out there. So how do we take care of ourselves when we're taking care of others?
Well, it's really important that you take a step back and say, I need time for myself. And I think as women, in general, we don't do that. We have a family to take care of.
Right.
We have work to do. We put our leisure and our best interests behind us, not in front of us.
And are caregivers mostly women?
They are mostly women, yes.
Okay.
Many full-time. Caregiving is the most unpaid job. There's billions of dollars in unpaid wages in caregiving every year.
Right, and it's the most time-consuming.
Absolutely, yes.
Right, and it can just completely wipe out your personal, your whatever you used to do, it's gone now.
Exactly.
How do we bring that back in?
Well, again, you need to take care of yourself. And you think, my background is in leisure and recreation. That's part of what I do, in expressive arts. And I have always been an artsy, craftsy kind of person.
Okay.
And I've always had my leisure interests really in mind and tried to cultivate that through the years. And one of the things that we've really found that might be really easy for people, for caregivers who can't carve out that time, is to do some of these very easy things that I've brought along to show you.
Thank you.
And the first one is adult coloring.
Okay.
And
big trend. Lots of people are doing that. I see that all over the place in Michael's and even in the grocery store.
Absolutely. At the checkout, you buy that little book. So I brought along one of my books. It's called Color Me Calm.
Oh, nice.
It's templates for meditation and relaxation, and I didn't do that.
Oh, that's beautiful. Well done. That's gorgeous.
But, you can just take your time and go through it and choose your colors.
Okay.
It empowers you. You get to make the decisions.
Right.
You can buy colored pencils. You can go whole hog with this. I mean, colored pencils are fairly inexpensive. These are some watercolor pencils that are a little bit more expensive.
Okay.
But get your 20% off or buy one, get one free at Michael's.
Oh, nice.
And do it. You
Okay.
can take it anywhere. You can do it in the doctor's office.
Right. And you don't have to be crafty to do any of these, really.
No.
You just have to carve out the time and do a little bit. Even a little bit helps, right?
Absolutely.
Just like they say, exercise, 15 minutes of exercise still will have some benefits, cardiovascular benefits. Is it the same with this?
Same thing.
Okay.
Carve out 5 or 10 minutes.
Sure.
And pick up that yellow marker and color the sun.
That's
so. And really, I have found in 5 or 10 minutes, my stress level goes down. I'm a bit calmer when I have a bad day or a bad moment at work.
Right.
I pull out my coloring book and close the door. 5 minutes later, I'm good to go.
Yeah. And give us an idea of what happens to your brain. Is it you're refocusing on self? Are you focusing more on your breathing, on paying attention to self, and that automatically relieves the stress? What are the mechanisms?
Well,
that
you're focusing
make this work?
on something different. And it's stimulating that pleasurable part of the brain,
Got
the
it.
artistic, the left side of the brain.
Sure.
So it's stimulating that, and that gives that sense of calmness.
Okay. All right. What else do we have?
So one of my personal passions is counted cross stitch,
Okay.
which I've been doing for many, many years, and I bought some of my examples.
This is beautiful.
Cross stitch does not have to be the 8x10 picture.
Okay.
So that's why I brought along some little
ones.
examples.
Okay.
So,
Beautiful.
this one I have finished. And not everything I finish.
Yep.
There's a little one here, little piece right
Beautiful.
here, that very small. You can
Right.
take it along with you.
Right. Put it in your pocketbook. And
Absolutely. I do it on the airplane.
And what do you need to be able to do this? You need thread and a needle. That's it, and a canvas.
Thread, a needle, piece of fabric,
Right.
cross stitch
Right.
supplies, and a pattern.
And these patterns actually come already printed, and then you cross stitch on top. You're not creating this pattern
No.
from yourself. Okay, I'm just saying, people
Yeah.
that are not crafty would be a little intimidated in creating this. I
couldn't-
can't even write this
No.
neatly, so never mind sewing it neatly.
Right.
Okay.
So
Beautiful.
and this is something like just a regular old Hand towel.
And for gifts. I mean, this
Right.
is a great idea. Everybody loves handmade items
Right.
and things, that have that personal touch. Doing even just a letter on, on a hand towel and giving
Right.
that as a gift.
And this doesn't take long. You can
no.
put it down and pick it up.
And pay it. See, that's the important thing.
Right.
Because people just don't, they think that you need to carve out an hour of time and they just say, I really need to get this done for my mom or for my spouse or for my dad. And so they ignore it. And
Right. You need something 5,
Right.
10 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's why this last thing is also so
Yes,
great. And
I love this.
I really thought about women today when I
Yeah.
put this together.
Okay, good.
Part of my passion is growing herbs. I want to be an herbalist when I retire.
When you grow up.
Yeah, when I grow up,
Nice,
yes.
okay.
So my passion is herbs.
Okay.
I really like things that are all natural. You go in the store and you buy, say, face products, and they're mega bucks.
True.
But you know what? You can make face masks with whatever you have in your home. So if you're a caregiver,
Yes.
you can pull these things off your shelf
Right.
and make a facial for yourself.
That's fantastic.
So with carrots, and I
Yes.
have ground carrots,
Beautiful.
avocado, heavy cream, and the
Just
benefits.
mix them together.
Just mix them
Okay.
together.
Where
yes.
did you get this recipe?
Uh,
Can you
I-
get it online? And
Online.
Right. There's
just
got to be like on Pinterest.
So
yeah.
there's so many out there.
Right.
So I thought we would put one together today.
Lovely.
Because it has chocolate in it.
And I love chocolate. I don't know how you knew that, Christine.
Yes.
But that's my favorite.
So this
Okay.
is called a Get a Boost facial.
Okay.
And these 3 things you most likely have at home.
Right.
So you're going to take, can you hand me the tablespoon?
Absolutely.
You're going to take 2 tablespoons of yogurt.
Okay. Very easy.
Yep.
All right, and delicious.
Eat the
And-
leftover yogurt.
And does it matter? Just plain yogurt, right? You don't want any
Plain.
sugar in there. or
No
any-
sugar,
Okay.
no flavoring.
Okay.
You don't want blueberry on your face.
No.
And then we're going to do a tablespoon of honey.
Okay. And while we're doing this, something else that has come up quite a bit in conversations of people that are caregivers, there's always somebody that's calling an older adult and trying to get them to give them money in
Yep.
some way. There are
Yes.
all these scams that are happening. One, why is that happening? And I mean, it's a vulnerable population, obviously. And 2, how is it that you prevent that or minimize that opportunity?
Well, scams don't happen to just older folks.
No.
They happen to us younger people as well.
Yes.
Believe me.
Yeah.
I've had
Yes.
people come to the door.
No, I've had the Prince of Saigon sending me emails asking me for money too.
So
Happens to everyone. I just feel as though they're more susceptible. Is that not accurate?
that is very
Okay.
accurate. A very common scam is calling an older adult and saying, "Grandma, this is your grandson Johnny.
Oh, my
I'm
gosh.
stuck in such and such a town.
Right.
Can you wire me money?" Now you think your grandson Johnny is really stuck.
Right.
So
So you take down the account number
And
you
you wire
begin
the
to
money.
wire the money.
Yep. True scam. So
Yeah.
talk to
That's incredible.
Talk to people and ask people to think about if they get a phone call, it's
Right.
not necessarily what it seems.
Okay.
Too good to be true. I've had people come
If
to
it's
my
too good,
door.
right? Yes.
Oh yeah.
Right.
And so if it's unusual, it's not somebody you talk to.
Yep. You want some of this?
Nope, don't
Okay.
need that.
Wow.
That 3 ingredients.
That's it?
That's it.
Oh, that's unbelievable.
Right. So always check it out.
Honey, yogurt, cocoa.
Yogurt, honey, cocoa. That's
That
it.
is beautiful.
So it's a
It's
paste like this.
delicious, too.
Yes. So what you would do, I mean, there
Yeah.
3 to 5 ingredients. Most of these, you have these
Okay.
on your shelf.
Perfect.
You take it, you put it on your face.
Right.
Wait 20 minutes, and then rinse off with warm water. Something like avocado is very
Yes.
high in vitamin K, vitamin E.
Great
so
oils,
that starts
healthy
as a
oils.
base. Same
Okay.
thing with a banana. I got my really ripe banana. You have
Yeah.
one ripe banana you don't know what to do with?
Yes.
Save it, give yourself a
Always.
facial.
There you go.
Same thing with the avocado.
Great.
Baking soda is great as an
Really?
exfoliant. Yes.
Okay.
Same thing with
Fine particles.
fine particles.
Okay.
Same thing with
brilliant.
oatmeal.
Okay.
So you've got these on your shelves.
Right.
Don't buy the expensive stuff. You can carve out that 15, 20 minutes.
Sure.
Sit back, relax. Just take care of yourself.
Yeah. That's a great idea. But thank you so much for sharing these and for talking to us about scams too. I feel as though being prepared is really the only way that you can take care of the loved one, and you can't take care of your loved one until you take care of yourself.
Exactly.
So, thank you for being with us, Christine. Big thanks to Christine Alessandro for being with us and reminding us of the importance of caring for ourselves as we care for others. Please remember to follow, like, and subscribe to Woman2Woman Today on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube so you don't miss a show. Thanks to the entire team at Access Framingham, especially Shavarsh Morrissey and Francesca Cerruti Harris. Thanks also to Jess Briswell, our assistant producer. I'm Jen Maseda, your host of Woman2Woman Today. Thanks for watching, everyone. See you next time, where we hope to inspire you.